Hello everyone, this is Garrett2x4 here, and welcome back to the model world, and welcome back to another update for it. With this world, just like last time, there will be a download in the video description where you can download the latest version of this world. So this will be version 2.1, and you can find that on my Planet Minecraft page as well. The link will take you to that, and you'll just be able to download it directly from there. So definitely feel free to take a look at it for yourself if you're interested. Maybe download it, take a look at it with me as we fly through it. But there's a lot of good stuff added in. It's been about a month since the first initial release of it, so I felt it was probably a good time to go ahead and post another update. There's quite a bit of stuff done, obviously not as much as the initial world release, but there's still a lot of really cool stuff I think a lot of you are going to enjoy. Now, first off, I do want to go and talk about a few things that I did change overall with the world. And the main one is going to be I changed the game version to 1.20.1. So you'll now be able to load this world in 1.20.1 with no problems, and any versions below that will have issues. So definitely make sure that if you haven't already to update your game to 1.20 to play this, as anything below 1.20 will cause corruption issues, texture issues, because I have been using some of the newer blocks. So definitely keep that in mind going forward. With that though, the last overall world change is going to be I added some different markers for vehicles that are commissioned. I've had a few commissions coming in recently from Owen Bross, which has been great. So I have went ahead and labeled those areas as such, and that will be the new kind of sign going forward for any future commissions I do get. And I also went ahead and changed the way that I display Patreons. I'm still working on fully updating on the BAFTA builds section, but I'm going to be using the banner technique as well, and we'll talk about those a little bit later. You will be able to see those firsthand here with some of the builds that have been commissioned at least. Overall though, that's it for the overall world changes. I am still planning on revamping the spawn. There's still a lot of work I need to do with that. I'm having some ideas and kind of sketching down some notes of how I want to go ahead and change it. So I have some cool ideas coming, and hopefully in the next update or two we'll have a new spawn that is relatively pretty much similar to this, just with the new logo, and then also some different displays around it to show each section you're going into. So definitely stay tuned for that. And with that, so let's go ahead and dive into our first section of new stuff, which is going to be our construction section. Now, the cool part about our construction section is all the vehicles that are new added in can actually be downloaded individually as files on my Planet Minecraft, or you can actually view them in a 3D viewer if you do want to build them for yourself. So definitely feel free. Again, I'm really pushing out my Planet Minecraft, because it's a place where I'm going to be posting a lot of builds that just aren't going to be tutorials, and a lot of these construction vehicles are probably going to fall into that. So definitely check out my Planet Minecraft, and you can download and view all these vehicles in a little bit more detail than we're going to here today. And you don't even have to be on Java to actually view the 3D viewer. You can actually view it on the page itself. So that's also really good if you're trying to use that to replicate some of these vehicles just by looking at the 3D viewer. With that though, we're going to go ahead and dive in here to taking a look at the new vehicles. And you can see we have some pretty cool stuff to talk about, so let's dive into it. And the first one here is going to be the Volvo excavator. This is specifically the EC380E model. This is an excavator, obviously, so really nice detailing all the way around with it. You can see a lot of banner work, invisible item frames, some of the debug stick tools. So definitely there's a lot of things on here that are really intricately done, and a lot of really good detail for it, but I really love this model. I think it came out really good. So that right there is the Volvo excavator. Then right next to it we have the Volvo A25G. This is a articulated dump truck. So I love articulated dump trucks. I think they're super cool, and obviously had to do it justice here. Again, a lot of really good detail with this thing, and just overall really happy with it. I think it came out really, really good. And yeah, that's pretty much the Volvo truck there. And then I also made a version here where we actually have the dump truck. So the dump, or the trough where all the stuff would be piled in, is actually vertically upright like that, so that it can actually dump out all the stuff. So we have the hydraulic arms extended, and it looked like it's dumping out stuff or whatever. So that was a pretty cool version as well. I liked doing that one for sure. Then right next to it we have a Volvo front loader. This is the L2.2.0H. So this is again just a larger front loader from Volvo. Again, a lot of really good detail here, and just overall pretty cool build. So that's pretty much the main kind of construction vehicles there. Then we have the cranes. This one right here is going to be from the Mantiwalk. I probably pronounced that wrong, but Manitowoc company, and this is a GRT8100, and this is a rough terrain crane, so it's got larger wheels on it. Still a pretty heavy, strong crane, just a little bit not as intense as other cranes, but again, just a heavy lift crane designed for rough terrain, so it's got the bigger wheels. We of course have the version here with the arm extended. We have the supports for it out, and you actually have the vehicle lift off the ground, which is probably a little higher than it would sit normally, but really unfortunately with Minecraft that's all we can do. But yeah, it's a really nice version. I love the extended versions on the crane. And then we also have the transit version, so just with the crane down and facing forward. So really good detail all the way through this build. And again, really like it. And after building this, I was inspired to actually build a larger crane here, which is another Liber crane. This one here is a mobile train truck, or a crane truck crane, whatever you want to call it. And this is the Liber LTM LL50-5.3. And yeah, really awesome crane here. You can see we have the long extended arm. This isn't even as long as it could get. It's kind of, you can see the different stages. So you have the first stage here, second, third, fourth, and fifth. So the middle stages here aren't even fully extended. But you have the obviously the hook up there, the long arm extender, the support, a lot of great detail in it. Again, just like the other crane back there, we have it lifted off the ground with your supports. And yeah, a lot of really good detail overall with it, and really happy with the way it came out. So again, you have the transit version for it, so you have that as well. So really cool builds here, and again, all these are kind of unique because this is the only section in this tutorial that everything that I've built for this section is actually going to be available for download separately. So definitely feel free to hop on the Planet Minecraft and check that out. But that's going to be it for this section. Let's go ahead and jump over to our space section. Now our space section here is probably going to be changed the name of it to missiles and space. I feel like that's probably those go pretty hand in hand. But obviously there's going to be a lot of military missiles we're going to be doing that aren't exactly space related, and I felt that the space section is probably the best place to put those as they make the most sense. Right in front of us, we have a bunch of commissions here from Owen Bross. I haven't yet figured out a way of how I want to go about displaying them, but they are basically a bunch of just naval anti-ship and cruise missile type designs. So let's go ahead and just kind of jump into the designs here. The first one we have here, the smaller one, is going to be your Harpoon. So again, pretty straightforward anti-ship missile, and I did a couple of versions here of it. Just couldn't figure out exactly what I liked for it, but yeah, we have the Harpoon here, obviously just in a horizontal and vertical position. Next up, we have the well-known Tomahawk cruise missile. So this is the Tomahawk just kind of in its horizontal flight, and then you have the vertical, so you have the right at launch where all the stabilizers are folded inwards, and then you have the one right after launch where they extend outwards and the rocket takes off. So that's what we have there for that. And then back here we have some Russian Soviet cruise missiles here. The first one being the R700, so a bit of a larger one here, and pretty cool stuff overall. Very big missiles as well. And then we have the R800. So again, nothing too fancy here, just a horizontal vertical version for it. And yeah, so just some basic missiles there, and those will be added into plots and looking a little bit nicer than what we have going on here currently. But they are in the world, so I wanted to go ahead and make sure I cover them. With that though, we're going to go and dive into our World War I, World War II ground section. So moving into our World War I, World War II ground section, we don't really have too much added in. We have 2 new countries though, which is pretty cool, and these are countries that I don't really think were ever appreciated in the original 2.1 model world, so very excited to see some nice additions to this area. But first being here is that we have the addition of Romania and Hungary. So you got a lot of awesome builds from them, and we'll hopefully see a little bit of expansion on this line going forward, and just overall in the World War I, World War II section. I've been slacking a little bit on World War I, World War II builds, just mainly because they are a little bit more tricky to do at the scale, but also I built so much with the the original model world, 2.1 world, so it's nice to have a bit of a change of pace here and build a lot more modern stuff, which are really cool vehicles, I think. But anyways, we got some good stuff here. So first, starting off with, we have the TACAM R2, just a little tank destroyer. I think it was based off a Czechoslovakian tank base, or a Swedish, one of the two. But yeah, just a tank destroyer here, and this is in orange, just mainly because there's a real life version still in existence that is in orange. So I figured I might as well do it in orange, just because it also stands out. It's a little bit different, and catches your eye here in this line of just green and gray. Next up, we have the 40M Turan 1, which is a medium tank, so one of the more prominent tanks from Hungary at the time. So really good stuff there for it. Pretty happy with the way this tank came out. I think it's a pretty good looking tank there. And then right next to it, we have the 41M Turan 2, which is pretty much the same thing, just a little bit of a different gun, and the antenna's been moved from the turret to the front up here. So really, again, nothing too different between those two tanks, just different gun placement and antenna. Next up, we have the 38M Toldi 1, which was a light tank that was built by Hungary. So again, pretty cool little design for it. And then we have another version of it that's the Toldi EU20, which was a medical evacuation version, which really I don't know the difference between the two, besides just having a little medical pouch on the back here and some red crosses on the side of the turret. Other than that, it was pretty much the same thing. So I don't really know what the purpose of, especially since it still had a gun. So it was still fair game in warfare. So interesting though. Then next up, we have the Toldi Panselvadaz. I probably completely butchered that, but this here is a tank destroyer based off the Toldi hull. So you got a little platform here, and obviously the fighting compartment on the side there with a gun breech and all that stuff. So pretty cool design for that. And then next up, we have our last addition. This is the 44M Toldi, the Bozo Ganivento. Again, probably completely butchered that, but this here is a Toldi without a gun. I think it just has a machine gun, if I remember correctly, and it has a bunch of rockets, or a couple rockets here on the back of the vehicle. So pretty cool versions here of it. I think mainly most of the Toldis and the Turans have been built. There are a few things I still need to do from Romania and Hungary, but these are kind of like the main vehicles that came up and were, especially for Hungary, some of the main vehicles that they used during the war. But that's it for our World War I, World War II ground section. I know not a whole lot, but we will definitely be seeing more in the future updates. With that, though, let's go ahead and dive into our Cold War Modern Warfare section, starting with the United States. So the United States is actually not our biggest expanding line in this update, which is kind of weird. Usually it typically is, but we just have a few things to cover here. The first is going to be this truck here. This is the M915 tractor trailer. So a very common used vehicle throughout, I would say, your older periods of the Cold War, maybe mid-Cold War sections, but definitely a bit of an outdated truck, but still in use probably here and there around different units around the United States and maybe deployed locations. But yeah, just a simple tractor trailer, really nothing too much about it. Then right next to it, we have the same tractor trailer, but this is paired up with a pretty fun build here. I absolutely love this build. But this is the Burger King trailer, and this was used during Afghanistan and brought around to different bases and stuff like that to actually supply food and, I guess, a morale booster. But I really love this thing. You got the burger, the fries, the Coke, and then you have your little Burger King logo, which looks terrible, but really the best I could do at the scale. And then over here on this side, you have the same thing. Really love it. I think it came out really good. And you even have like little order windows and stuff. So this would pull up and park up, and soldiers and troops would be able to go up and order some Burger King. So really fun build, something unique, something I've never seen done in Minecraft before. So it was really fun to build something a little bit new. But that's it for the American section. Just a couple, mainly just one being a meme build and the other one just a truck. So nothing too crazy, but it's still the longest line in our modern Cold War section, so it's definitely not hurting by any means. With that, though, let's go ahead and dive back to our Russian-Soviet section. So moving into our Russian-Soviet section, we're going to have quite a bit of MTLBs. This was kind of a subject of where I found some pretty fun meme builds and decided to go crazy with it, and they've been going crazy with the MTLB as a basis for a lot of really whack field modifications in the Russian-Ukraine war. So these are some interesting vehicles and variants that have definitely come from that war. But the first one here is the MTLB. This is with the 2M3 naval anti-aircraft gun or cannon. And you can see it's one of the more funkier designs here. It's got a really large barbette with, or I don't even know if you want to call it a barbette, but the turret sits on top of it here, and it's basically got a couple automatic anti-aircraft guns on it. It's really weird. I mean, that's all I can really say for it, but it's interesting and what kind of inspired me to build all these at once. So, yeah, I guess thankful for this design, just for inspiring me to build all these, but still very strange. Next up, we have the MTLB with the 2M3 again. So it's the same turret, but this one here is just mounted directly onto the hull, and it doesn't have that weird barbette. So it's, makes a little bit more sense. And these ones also, since they are used in Ukraine, I went ahead and put the Z on them just to reinforce that they're from that conflict. Then right next to it here, we have just the standard MTLB. So this really is the standard base version. Really nothing too crazy or fancy with it. And, what they were using before in the war, or before even the war began. Then right next to it, we have another field modification. This is the MTLB. This one has a lot of different add-ons to it, so a lot of different crates and tracks and stuff like that, just to provide a little bit more armor to it. So kind of just another really strange field modification version of it. This one also has a very high standing double Dishka machine gun setup, as well as a machine gun down here, so probably an automated type turret put on top. It's a very strange vehicle nonetheless, but still really cool, kind of technical type design there. Then we have another MTLB. This one here is the ZU-23, and I swear every build I've been doing, or every other build, has had a ZU-23 in it, but yeah, we have basically just a ZU-23 gun mounted onto the rear of the chassis of the MTLB, so really nothing too crazy with that one. And then right next to it, we have the MTLB with the A-22 Ogon, which is basically a rocket launcher type design. I think, again, this is sort of a naval rocket launcher that they've went ahead and retrofitted on top of this tank. So a lot of the versions I saw actually still had it in its gray color. So obviously I went ahead and maintained that, but a pretty interesting build nonetheless. Next up here, we have a anti-aircraft gun. This is the AZP S60 anti-aircraft gun. So this is the configuration of it kind of folded up and in a transit mode. So you have the seats here, all the detail around it, the gun breech, and then the main gun itself. And then we have a version here that's kind of in the deployed state. So you have the legs extended out to the sides there, and it's ready to fire. So pretty cool stuff. And then right next to it, we have one of that same gun, so the AZP mounted onto the MTLB. So again, looks pretty crazy on top there, but again, this is based off a real design, and presumably a modification that was done in Ukraine. So really interesting vehicle nonetheless. Then right next to it, went ahead and just built a BMP-1, so pretty straightforward with that, just a Soviet BMP-1. And right there is it for our Russian-Soviet section of the world. And with that, we're going to go ahead and dive back to our other section. Next section we have here is going to be Ukraine. In Ukraine, I've added a few new vehicles here. The first being the MTLB with the MT-12. So this is a field modified MTLB with a larger anti-tank gun on it. So you can see here we have a couple of different versions. We have one with just a straight open back here, some supports. So really straightforward type design there for it. And then this other one here actually has some side armor that's been incorporated on it with no back supports. So from what I've seen, these things are pretty unstable and pretty janky, but it's still really cool nonetheless, and have added them into the world. So those are pretty cool. Next one here, I absolutely do really love this build. I think it's one of my favorite builds in this update. This is a ZIL-131 with the AZP S60, so the same anti-aircraft gun we used over there. So this is a truck here that's been retrofitted with the gun on the back, and I also went ahead and added all this camouflage netting and stuff on it based off of real pictures, and I think it looks really, really cool. So overall, really happy with the way it looks, and yeah, it's overall a pretty cool build. So of course, we have the little Ukrainian flag on it as well. So very happy with that, and that's going to be it for our Ukraine section. Next up, we have a lot of new builds added into Sweden. I've been working on the War Thunder tech tree for Sweden, so I've been building quite a bit of Swedish equipment along with some Finnish equipment sprinkled in there. So you can see here our Sweden line's pretty massive. A lot of new stuff added in. This is probably the biggest expanded line in this update. The first one we have here is the PV501, which is just basically a BMP Swedish version, so it just has the camouflage on it. It's really the same thing as the other one we had before. Then we have the STRV-74, which, again, one of the weirdest, ugliest tanks in existence. So I think I did pretty good justice here for it, though, and that's the STRV-74. Then next to it, we have the LVKV-42, which is a self-propelled anti-aircraft gun. So, again, just has the anti-aircraft gun in here, an open top type vehicle. Then we have the USM-204 GK, which is again a self-propelled anti-aircraft gun, has this autocannon and this weird little ground vehicle type thing. So pretty interesting vehicle there. Then we have the Bakken 1C, which is a self-propelled gun. This thing's pretty cool. It has a very interesting look to it. This really weird extension on the back here, and definitely kind of more of a artillery type design, but really cool nonetheless. So there's a really interesting Swedish build there for it. Then we have the IKV-91, which is a pretty cool tank, high mobility assault gun. So I think it was designed for light, kind of a light tank used for, I think, paratroopers, stuff like that. So more of a expeditionary type of force. Then next to it, we have the USM-405, which is self-propelled anti-aircraft gun as well. I think this one actually might be an anti-tank, so I might have to change the sign here, but it's got, I think, 2 recoilless rifles here on it. So again, the same kind of vehicle that we used over there, just with, some anti-tank recoilless rifles. Next up, we have basically our Swedish Centurions. So this first one here is the STRV-81, main battle tank, done up in this little camouflage here, and again, just a modified Centurion from the British. And then we have the STRV-81 RB-52. So this one, again, same thing here, but it has these little rockets. So these anti-tank rockets here, unguided on the turret itself. So really cool design there. And then the next one we have here is the STRV-101, which I think is just a Centurion Mark 10. And yeah, again, pretty much the same stuff here. Pretty cool. Then next to it, we have the STRV-103A. So this is the first variant of the STRV. So really interesting and cool tank there. And then next to it, I think we have the first production version, or the prototype. This is the STRV-103-0, which is, again, just an STRV without all the little extras on it. And then we have the kind of most recent one, which is the STRV-103C. That has all the extra armor add-ons and everything like that. So really cool tank. Gotta love the STRV-103 just for its uniqueness for a tank. Then right next to it here, we have the STRV-104. So this is another Centurion that's been modified to have like this add-on armor and stuff like that to the front. It's overall pretty cool tank. Then next to it, we have the STRV-105. Again, just a different variant there of the Centurion modified by the Swedish forces. Then we have a finished vehicle here. This is the ZSU-57-2, so really the same thing as we have in the Soviet line currently. This one I just went ahead and did an open top for it, so you can actually see inside, and also added the little finish roundel to the sides there, but really it's the same design as we used before. We then have this monstrosity here, and this is the V.2.1, which I think was 2 twin Bofors in this vehicle, and it was again just an anti-aircraft vehicle with the radar, the 40 millimeters, and all that. So really interesting vehicle to build, and kind of a strange looking one nonetheless. Then right next to it, we have the PVR BV-551, which was an anti-tank APC. So really just an APC with a tow launcher on it. But yeah, pretty cool stuff here overall for it. So some nice additions to the Sweden line, and we'll continue to see this expanded upon in the future updates, and eventually we'll have all the War Thunder Swedish vehicles, or I would say probably Norwegian tech tree added in. So a lot of good stuff there for it. Right behind them, though, we do have the United Kingdom, and of course I had to build the base Centurions to modify into the Swedish versions. So we have this Centurion Mark III added in here. And then we also have the Centurion Mark 10, so they're very similar again to the Swedish versions, just without the little extras and the camouflage that the Swedish added on. So overall, really nice looking builds there, and that's going to be it for for those vehicles there. And I think that's it for the main section here for the Modern Warfare vehicles. There's really nothing else added back here. The one thing I do want to mention here is that the destroyed tanks have also been added in here, so they're actually like little dioramas in the oversized section. So if you do want to see those in person yourself, you're more than welcome to. But we have a lot of really cool models here with blown up tanks and all that. And if you've seen the video, you pretty much know what we got going on here. But a lot of you really enjoyed the concept, and we're very happy with it overall. So I went ahead and made sure I added these in the world for you all to enjoy and take a look at. And eventually we'll have some other models here and there to take a look at as well. But anyways, though, that's going to be it for our ground section altogether. And with that, let's move on to our aircraft section. So moving into our World War I, World War II section, I only have a few builds to take a look at here. The first one's going to be the Curtiss F6C-4 Hawk, and this was an American biplane kind of interwar type fighter. So we have a landed version here and the in-flight. So really nothing too fancy with it. It's pretty straightforward, simple little biplane, and yeah, just a little fighter there for it. And then if we just fly back here to the British section, we have some additions to the one addition, and this is going to be the Gloucester Meteor. And this was the first initial production version. So this is the Gloucester Meteor F Mark III, which were actually fielded in 1944 in small numbers. So technically it makes it a World War II aircraft. So a jet engine powered aircraft, and I think it was the first from the British to be put into combat. So that right there is pretty much it for the World War I, World War II section. And again, I want to definitely expand upon this very soon, but that is all I have in this update. Let's move on to the Cold War Modern Warfare section. So of course, starting with our Cold War Modern Warfare section, we have to start with the United States. The first build we have here is going to be a Blue Angel version of the F-18. So it's the same F-18 that I built in the previous model world, but this one here is the Blue Angels version. So really straightforward there. Just went ahead and recolored it, removed all the missiles, armaments, everything like that. And yeah, we just have the Blue Angels version of it. Pretty straightforward, and it's overall a really nice looking build. So very happy with the way that came out. And then if we work our way down the line further here, we will run across our section of new aircraft. And the first aircraft we have here is going to be the F-16. So this right here is the F-16C. We have it done up in the Air Force colors. So we have obviously the landed version with the in-flight version here. So we have the darker, two shades of gray, so the darker gray, lighter gray. You got your fuel pods here and your missiles and all that loaded out here. So overall, really nice look there for the F-16, and really happy with it. And of course, right behind it, I also went ahead and made a Thunderbirds version. So we have it all done up in the Thunderbirds color here and without the armament. So F-16 there, Thunderbirds, and of course the landed version as well. So really nice looking aircrafts for both these, and really do love the way they came out. Next up, we have a C-130. So this is a C-130H Hercules. So the very nice version of it. The second newest, the J is the newest model of the C-130, but yeah, this was the last one to have the 4 blades instead of the upgrade, but lots of really good detail in here with all the different markings and everything on it. Windows, you got the engines here for the aircraft, got the little U.S. roundel there, or insignia, and then the writing over there on that side. And of course, we have the in-flight version as well. Some tail flash, really nice details all the way around. And of course, you know, you have the landed version down here as well, which sits a little higher off the ground than I like, but unfortunately, just kind of the way I had to do it here with Minecraft. But really nice models for that. So that's the C-130. And with that, we'll go ahead and move into our next section, which will be the United Kingdom. So moving into the United Kingdom, I have a lot of basically meteors. That's all I really built here in this update. For the British was a lot of meteors. So this one here is just going to basically be the same thing as the F version. This is just the C version of it. So the naval one, I think they only built a few of these and were testing them out, but they never actually, you know, continued on with full active service. But they're really nice kind of camo here with the white and blue. So went ahead and built that. It looks really nice. So pretty much the same thing as that one over there, just recolored. Then next up we had the more kind of modernized version. This one here is the Meteor F Mark IV G41F. So again, a fighter version, and this one's just, you know, gray color, and I think the engines are a little bit longer here, so some more powerful engines and stuff incorporated on it. And then we have, I think, the last version of the Meteor, which was the F Mark IV for V.2.1G, and the numbering and the naming for this is absolutely ridiculous. The British need to do better, but we have the shorter wing version, so very similar to that of the other version over here. This one just has the shorter wings, and I think it's the top tier Gloucester Meteor that the British created. So again, we have the landed versions and the in-flight versions here for these, and I think they're pretty cool aircraft. So some nice builds here for the first United Kingdom jet fighter. But with that, we're going to go ahead and then drop back to France. So France, I went ahead and added some new builds here. We have the Superintended. So the first one here is the IVM, which is the kind of first version of it. So really nice looking design here for it, all in the dark gray. And the next version we have here is going to be the Superintended, which was the upgraded version of it. So again, we have the both landed versions and we have the in-flight versions there. So really good looking stuff there for them all together. Then after we have that, we have the Polish section here, which has the F-16, and this is the F-16C Block 52. So it has the Polish color scheme here, and it also has these fuel tanks on the sides here, which makes it really unique and different. Of course, the Polish roundels, but yeah, pretty much the same thing there as the American one, just with the fuel tanks mounted on there, and obviously the in-flight and landed versions for it. So really nice looking build there. Then when we go back here, we have our first Asian aircraft here. This is a commission build, so you can see that little banner there in front of it. But we have China, and this here is the JH-7, which is a naval strike fighter, if I remember correctly, or fighter bomber. So really nice looking design here for this one, and this one actually has a drag chute. So very happy with the way it came out. It's a really nice looking aircraft, and very happy with it. And that one is a tutorial, so you can view it on the channel if you do want to. Then back here we have our kind of Middle Eastern section, which has been completely built up from the ground up. The first build here we actually have is Turkey. So Turkey is been added in here, and they basically have a modified F-104 starfighter. I still need to build the American version to add that over there, but really cool design for it. And yeah, so just the Turkish F-104, and this is the F-104 S TAF. So pretty cool looking build here. Then next to it we have some Israeli builds. This is the F-16 Block 40, so Barak 2. And this is a F-16 here. I think this is the two-seater version. So again, really straightforward. Has the Israeli camouflage on it, the little logos, and yeah, really nice looking build for it. And of course the in-flight version here as well. And then right next to it we have the one-seater version of the aircraft as well. So you have the two-seater, one-seater, and again, pretty much the same loadout, same aircraft other than that. So those have been added in for Israel. And then also we have our first ever time doing a Iranian vehicle, and this here is the C-130E, and this is a Islamic Republic of Iran, I think is our official name, but something a little bit different and unique here. So got the flag on the back there and all that. So it was cool. I kind of liked it mainly because of the camo, the two-tone tans. I thought it looked really cool. So went ahead and threw this in, built it, and yeah, first ever Iranian Air Force aircraft I've ever done. So that was pretty fun, and it's just a recolored C-130, but still cool nonetheless, and was pretty fun to do. But that's going to wrap up for all the new vehicles added in this update. And with that, guys, that's going to wrap up my update here for the Model World 2.1. Again, you can find this for download on my Planet Minecraft. The link for that will be down in the video description, so definitely head on over there and download the world. If you guys followed along throughout the entire video, definitely be sure to let me know what your favorite addition to this world was. I'd definitely love to hear what you guys think is the coolest addition and what you guys would like to see more of. But with that, thank you guys again so much for watching. As always, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. This has been Garrett 2x4, and I'll see you guys next time.